If you don't prove to me that you're father material for my daughter, you're out of my life.
Okay, well, you gotta prove yourself too then.
The fact that Jasmine got pregnant by Matt is ridiculous. I was in love with her. I walked her down the aisle.
Low-key, this is kind of sounding like the problem you were having with Gino, though. Like when you were screaming and yelling all the time, and then he wasn't wanting to sleep with you.
Are you serious?
My pictures, I kind of look the same. Yara's pictures are the worst. This person is unrecognizable.
No, but she's beautiful.
She is beautiful now.
Anytime you say something about me, go look in the mirror. You said what you said.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
The mother nature doesn't bless you, okay?
You want to know how much I invested in this relationship? Yeah, I mean, Jasmine ripped my heart into this many pieces. I'm gonna make Jasmine pay for the amount of money that I invested in the relationship from day one.
In this latest episode, we get into daddy issues, we get into body dysmorphia, we get into what happens when our partners tell us the ugly truth to our faces, and some I feel like were necessary, and some were very uncalled for. We have a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, specifically Jasmine, Gino, and the Florida crew, Jovi, Yara, Loren, and Alexi. If you're looking for Julia, Brandon, Darcy, and Georgie, that was in my previous video. I will link it in the description. But again, this video is just Jasmine, Gino, Matt, and then Jovi, Yara, Loren, and Alexi. Before we get into it, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we're gonna start this off with Jasmine and Gino. So Jasmine and Matt know that they're having a baby girl, okay? And so they're at this baby store. Jasmine has wasted zero time. She wants to start shopping. 2 seconds into getting into the store, she sees a hat collection and she's like, oh my God, it reminds me of Papa Gino. Every time she mentions Gino with that big old belly, I'm just like, que descarada. Like, with what balls can she sit there with the man that impregnated her and be like, oh, this reminds me of Papa Gino. Like, it's like this endearing thing. Like, she didn't. I just can't. But Matt is clearly annoyed because it's like, why are you bringing up Gino? We're literally moved together in Florida, but whatever. They're looking around at clothes. Jasmine is just picking up all of the pink things because she's determined to make her baby the girliest of girls. The vibes are off between them because, you know, Matt really wants a boy and is being an idiot about it. So he's like, oh my God, you're picking up so many pink stuff. Like, I like this green. And he picks up this like nice olive green thing. Then he picks up this camel thing. And that sets Jasmine off because she's like, she's not gonna like that. Her perception of gender is quite something because obviously there are many girls out there that like camo or colors other than green. But I think in the back of her mind, she's just like, you clearly are in denial that we're having a girl and that's why you're pissing me off. And just in general, Matt's argument about like not knowing what to do with girls really pisses me off personally because you have no kids. You've never raised a kid. Just because you have a peen doesn't make you equipped to raise a boy. You've never raised a boy, so you don't know what it's like. No matter what gender your baby's gonna be, it's going to be a learning curve because you've never parented. So that excuse of like girls are harder is so lame.
I am terrified of being a dad to a girl. That's what I get from not understanding like it's a 50-50 shot. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm really stupid.
And even like the way when he talks about it and he like is looking up and like rolling his eyes, it's very immature. Like literally episode by episode, he gets progressively uglier to me because he's such a lame. And so when he picks out that camo shirt for the baby, it sets Jasmine off because she's like, you're so ungrateful. Do you know how many people would want to have a baby right now?
Matt has been so ungrateful for this baby girl. Your first baby, you're acting like this is end of the world because you're having a daughter.
And she asks him, she's like, do you have something against women? Like, is there something that we need to talk about? Because what is your deal? The deal is that he's immature. Like, you knew that. He claims that he was the oldest boy and he just, you know, helped raise his siblings that were boys. So he feels like he's only equipped for that. And Jasmine's like, well, I was the oldest girl. What about it? Like, and then she starts breaking down because she expresses her daddy issues that, when her dad realized that she was going to be a girl, he completely abandoned her. And she feels that that's what Matt is doing. And he tries to downplay it like that's not what he's doing. But she's like, your attitude about it, the moment you found out it was a girl, shifted. That is rejection to me. And I have to agree with her on that. And Jasmine's story is really sad. And I think it explains a lot about who she is and why she reacts to certain rejections so big.
My father left me when I was 3 years old. And ever since, I haven't had any communication with him.
Do I think that at our age, we should be responsible for healing our hearts when things like that happen? Absolutely. But I think it does paint a clearer picture of who she is. But she's really triggered by him. And she's like, listen, if you don't shape up, if you keep this up, you're out of my life because I don't want my daughter to feel that. So you really have to prove that you're going to be a good father. And he's like, okay, well then you have to prove yourself too. And she throws him all of the clothes that she had because how dare you, right? I hate someone that's like tit for tat when you clearly hurt her. Jasmine is a lot of things, but I think that in this moment, she has every right to feel the way that she feels, And so she throws all of the clothes at him and walks out. They pan to her outside. She's dramatically crying, rubbing her belly, of course. And she's just like spiraling, right? Because she's like, I know how daddy issues can mess you up. I don't want my daughter to be affected in the same ways. And then she says, I just don't know why I did this to myself. This wasn't planned. This is what I get for being with an F-boy. He was only ever supposed to be a hookup buddy.
Knowing that I put my daughter in the same position for picking up a boy.
I'm glad she said that out loud. Let this be an ad for us all for safe sex. Because not having safe sex has consequences, and they can be a plethora of consequences, and they look different for different people, and different things happen, especially if you don't believe in, if you don't believe in terminating pregnancies and you know that you have limits, then maybe wrap it up, because now you find yourself not even divorced with an F-boy who doesn't take anything seriously. Like, that's crazy. And again, I think the reason I'm like, ooh, is because all of that, all three of those things were avoidable. But then this is where things get nasty. And I mean nasty, okay? Because he comes out and he comes out without any bags. So she's like, you didn't buy anything for the baby? You really must not care. You know who would not act like this? Gino. Gino would be so happy to have a baby right now, and he would not complain like you if he had a girl. You mean your husband, who did want a baby with you? Granted, he wouldn't touch you because of the way that you are, but you really want to bring him into this right now?
Piece of like, honestly.
Why?
You are the worst. You know what? At least Gino will be happy with having a baby and wouldn't make a big deal out of having a daughter.
Which brings me to Matt was always the perfect gentleman when she spoke about him, right? She always spoke about him like he was this perfect man. And she always does this. She likes to make whoever she's with feel insecure, feel like they can lose her at any moment. And so there's always a shinier object. When she was with Gino, she always talked that way about Dane. But Dane and her weren't together for a reason. You know what I mean? So who knows how she was in that relationship. But there's always someone that's better. She always likes to throw that in someone's face. And I think it just highlights that like Matt was always this sarcastic prick, right? But because she was in the honeymoon phase with him and she was so unhappy with Gino, she was like, oh my God, Matt is the greatest. And now that Gino is not in the picture, she doesn't have anyone to unleash that negative energy to. She can see him for who he is. So all of the things that she told herself that he was, now that she has no one to, go back and forth with, and it's just them, she's like, oh. But then another thing that happens is that Matt is like, wow, you're treating me like I'm the enemy.
You're trying to make me your enemy. I'm not your enemy. I don't know why you keep wanting to jump on my head and pull my damn hair out.
I thought that I had the worst dad in the world.
Dude.
Congratulations, Matt. You are worse than my dad.
You are an asshole.
You are worse than my dad.
The low blows.
You know, you're doing that thing that you did with Gino. It's like Gino all over again when he wouldn't touch you because you're always yelling and screaming.
Low key, this is kind of sounding like the problem you were having with Gino, though. Like when you were screaming and yelling all the time, and then he wasn't wanting to sleep with you. You're screaming and yelling all the time.
You, okay? You.
And again, this is a truth. Jasmine is the common denominator in all of her relationships. And again, because they were in a honeymoon phase, he also villainized Gino. Again, Gino was not innocent in any of this. But they needed to make Gino be the worst human ever to make what they were doing on the side be okay. They needed to rationalize it in that way, that he was the worst. But now that Gino's not in the picture and it's just them, he's like, oh, maybe Gino wasn't overreacting because you keep yelling at me. I can't get anything right. So while all of that is correct, I think that the timing of it is a low blow because Matt in this scene is indeed in the wrong. It's just so funny how like the truths come out. And so Jasmine is like, fine, it's me. I'm the bad person, right? Like I'm just the worst. And just like telenovela action, like tears are barely coming out.
You're screaming and yelling all the time.
You find the right word, okay. So I am in the wrong. I am the bad person.
No, but why are you angry?
I am the one who yelled, and now I scream.
And she's like, clearly, like, you don't even care. Like, you didn't even bring out clothes for the baby. He's like, do you want me to get the clothes for the baby? She's like, no, she doesn't need it. They get in the car. She insists on getting in the back because she doesn't want to be by his energy. So as they're driving, he's letting her know his daddy issues, how he feels he's gonna fail, and he's stressed about having a baby in general because his dad wasn't in the picture. And he claims that it has nothing to do with the gender, but I think it does have to do with the gender because he's made it about the gender. I don't think she's picking up on these feelings for no reason. And what I just find interesting, right? Jasmine has always been all over the place. She's always been the Tasmanian devil. Her feelings have always gotten the best of her. But when you are hormonal and pregnant, it's at another level. And she's already a scary person to me. With this now added layer of hormones, good luck, Matt. Just good luck to everybody. Like, it is just not an ideal relationship in my opinion, but they gotta deal with the consequences. But now y'all, in this episode, we do get some Gino. So Gino is meeting up with his nephew Anthony and his uncle Marco, and Uncle Marco is so in the dark about what's happening because he's like, how's your wife? I heard that you guys were doing something open, something like that, but like, what's the deal with that? And so Gino then has to give Uncle Marco the timeline of events and be like, oh yeah, so she called me one day urgently to be like, oh yeah, I'm moving to Florida with Matt. And also, I'm pregnant. And Uncle Marco was like, who's Matt? And wait, what? She's pregnant? And he starts crying. Uncle Marco is taking this hard. He feels betrayed because, you know, the family opened up to her. He walked her down the aisle. He took that very seriously. He says it. He was like, I was in love with her. For her to do that to us?
I was in love with her. I walked her down the aisle. I feel violated. The times that she told me that she really wanted to be loved by a dad that she never had. And
I'm like, yeah, Uncle Marco gets it. So why doesn't Dana and Michelle? Traitors. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. They're traitors. And so Gino is just like, yeah, like she really ruined my life. And, you know, I think that you played a part in that, Gino. And you went low, but she went lower. And so he's expressing to them like, you know, I was so in shock when she told me that. And there's so many things that I didn't tell her, but that I would like to say. And so they're like, you should let her know. You should write it down. Send her a letter. And Gino's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So the next time we see him, he's at a cafe. He is typing furiously. And he is letting out all of his grievances. He's asking himself, is there anything else I want to say? This is a long letter. The font looks like it's size 10. He's letting her have it. And he's like, you know, I could send this as a letter. I could send this as an email. but I want to call her because I want to guarantee that she's going to hear every single word that I have to say. And he believes, with his calculations, that there is a link between the time that she got her green card paperwork and when she started things up with Matt.
There was a link between getting her green card and the relationship she was having with Matt. When I submitted her permanent residence, she started pursuing a man at the gym at the same time.
And he is just so upset at being used that he's like, I'm going to make sure that she's as effed over as I am. And when he said that, I was like, Gino, if you would have put even an ounce of that effort that you're putting towards revenge into your marriage, you could have been in a different place. But that's not where he's at. He's at the anger phase of the healing journey, and he is making calculations of all of the expenses that he's made on Jasmine, you know, supporting her for 3 years in Panama, the visa stuff, everything. And here's the thing. Yes, he spent a pretty penny on her. I think he spent, his calculations are like over 75K or so. But I'm a big believer that if you gave her the money happily while together, you can't throw that in her face. Because what you spent, the things that you invested while she was in Panama, the things that you invested in your marriage while she was here, like that was part of like your agreement as husband and wife. He could have said no a lot. He didn't have to keep sending her hair extensions. He didn't have to keep, you know, funding her butt implants. He didn't have to do any of those things. So to now be like, that was the waste of money, I need to get that back, is crazy because she's not property at the end of the day, you know? But I do think it goes hand in hand with his sentiment that he expressed all through the marriage with what he felt when she got to America. He would constantly be like, I just want you to show me gratitude. And she would be like, oh, gratitude? What? You think because you brought me to America, I need to grovel at your feet? And it's not about that. It's about recognizing that someone had to work really hard for that dollar and they gave it to you. And I think the reason Jasmine never expressed that gratitude is because she felt entitled because like, hello, like you have me, I'm expensive. Like you just, that's just part of the game. It's a little icky for her to walk around like that. But it's also icky to have someone throw things in your face. I don't know. Maybe it comes down to the fact that they met at a sugar baby website and like that is the foundation. But I just found it really gross that he was like, that was a waste of money. And he says that he feels so effed over by her that now he wants her to feel the same way.
I want to hear Jasmine's reaction in her voice and her emotions as I read this to her. And then what is Jasmine going to say when it's all said and done?
And the way that he's like, yeah, like I want to mess with her. Like I'm not going to go down without a fight. The way that he's talking about it feels like psychological warfare, which is abusive. I think that it's also like layered, like you really got to take the loss. Now she's pregnant. Like you really want to rile up a pregnant woman. Like there's something about it that feels wrong. And I feel a lot of ways about Jasmine and the way that she's handled that situation. But I can recognize that, Gino, that is wrong. If I were him, I would cut her off completely. Like she would be nothing to me. Like I would do no paperwork. Like she cannot depend on me on anything. Financial, legal, like it's over. You've chosen Matt, have him figure things out for you. But to go out of your way to purposely like mess with them, I wouldn't do that. Vengeance is just not my style. And I feel like the way that things are going, he's in a really heavy space. And I think that it can get dark really fast. So I hope that he really leans on people like Uncle Marco that will lift up his spirits because he's not in a good place. But now let's move on to Jovi, Yara, Loren, and Alexi. So all of these folks are heading to Lake Placid, I think it's called, to go to this like ski place. Before they do that though, we do see a quick moment with Loren and Olga. Olga is her friend who stood up to Andrei, and they're part of like the parents association at their kid's school. So they're getting something ready for a party, and Loren takes the opportunity to fill her in on everything that has happened with Libby and the crazy things that she said about Alexi. And Olga is hearing this and she's very much like, yeah, that's not your real friend. Fake as fuck, like her husband. And so Loren is like, ugh, I know, but I don't really know what to do. We were friends for 4 years and now Yara wants us to go skiing and they're gonna be there. But also me and Alexi really could use some time off. I'm just gonna go, but like I'm dreading it. Fast forward, they're on the ride to Lake Placid, which I didn't know was in New York. But they're on the ride there. Yara's like, oh, so how are you feeling about Libby possibly coming? And Loren is like, you know, we're definitely not going to be the same because I can't trust her. Period. They get to Lake Placid. This place is gorgeous. It looks like a picture book. We see them go to the prospective rooms immediately. Jovi's like, I want to get it in. Like, this is romantic. He's ready to throw Yara on the bed. Yara's like, relax. Like, let's, you know, mingle. So they're at the bar. They're double fisting drinks. A comment that Alexi had made earlier was like, he loves Vacation Loren because she's so relaxed, unlike mommy mode Loren.
I love Vacation Loren because Vacation Loren is much more fun than home Loren. On vacation, Loren gets a little bit more relaxed and she's not always in mommy mode. So it's good for us. And
when he said that, that pissed me off because she's in mommy mode Loren all the time in Miami because your daddy mode, Alexi, isn't powered up the way that it should be. Maybe if she didn't have so many obligations with the kids and the house chores, she would be lighter and have more fun. I didn't like that. But anyway, they're downstairs drinking up all of the alcohol. Then there's a moment that they go upstairs. Jovi and Yara are in their room. Jovi takes off his clothes because, again, he is in heat, ready to throw it down. Yara's like, put something on. They're about to come into the room. So when they come in, Alexi's like, whoa, like what kind of party is this? Because Jovi is the only one in a robe. It's giving swingers, but they're still drinking. And then Jovi decides that they should play a game. So he makes it a game of Never Have I Ever, which I love, even though it's a little childish, but they're playing it. And I think one of the questions maybe was like, never have I ever had a piercing? And Alexi's like, yeah, I had a piercing over here and I even had like blonde hair. And he shows a throwback picture of himself, which then leads to a chain event of then Loren showing a childhood picture of her. And she looks the exact same. And Jovi's like, oh my God, like you do look the same. You know who has the worst pictures? Yara. Yara has the worst pictures. And you could see Yara like give him the look of death. He's like, yeah, she looked unrecognizable. And Loren is like, oh, she's beautiful. And he's like, yeah, she's beautiful now.
This person is unrecognizable.
No, but she's beautiful.
She is beautiful now. You look beautiful.
I feel like you sleep in a balcony.
You were absolutely beautiful then.
If I sleep on a balcony here, I'm gonna die. It's like 5 degrees outside.
You should get your own room then.
And Yara's just like, you're sleeping in the balcony tonight. We've seen the pictures. She had a lot of work done on her face. Yara, in the last resort, when they were on it, always talked about how she feels about herself. She doesn't feel that great about herself. She has a lot of insecurities stemming from childhood. And she feels like sometimes Jovi, throws jabs at her. And it doesn't help that he's constantly at strip clubs. There's a lot there, a lot that he knows. And the fact that he would say that and make jokes about her appearance at her expense, like it's one thing, the things that we tell ourselves about ourselves, but to hear the person that we love make jokes about it just so like it's nothing, that's hurtful. And she's trying to keep it together and be poised in front of everyone. But you could see that was too far. And so for a guy that really was in heat and really wanted to turn up the romance, he really just put the nail in the coffin on that. So Loren and Alexi are picking up on everything and they're like, oh, we should go to bed. Yeah, we're tired. They go and they're like, what the F? Back at the room, Jovi's like, oh my God, we had a fun night, right? Like, it's nice to spend time with them. They're cool, right? And Yara's like, yep. And either Jovi is oblivious or he's pretending that calling his wife ugly in front of other people is not a big deal. Which only makes it clear to me that he's very comfortable referring to her as ugly in private, which is only triggering her trauma. And so Yara is looking at this man and she's like, you should think twice before telling me that I'm ugly. Like, you should really look into the mirror because you didn't hit the jackpot. You're not God's favorite. And was that mean to say? Yes. But did he need to be humbled? Also, yes. He looks like a cartoon and she looks like Miss Barbie. And so, of course, Jovi is so juvenile, so he's downplaying what happened. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter if you feel like what you said is not a big deal. It's all about impact. If she's saying, ouch, this hurts me, then you need to acknowledge that hurt. But continuing to be like, oh, you're overreacting, it's not a big deal, it's continuing to slap her in the face.
Do you think you look the same as you looked when you were 18 years old?
No, but I don't talk about you, okay?
And I completely agree with her. She's like, we've been together for years. You should know what topics are off the table.
It's just really hurtful that you would bring that up, Jovi.
I mean, Yara, you were a kid. These pictures are like, to be honest.
Doesn't matter,
there's
Jovi.
nothing- I mean, of course, it's no secret. You had some work done. The truth is the truth, and that's it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's that bad.
I absolutely agree with that, especially in front of other people. She's like, I've been in therapy for years, trying to work at this, and you know that that's the only thing that can hurt me, and you say that. And as she's expressing this, he's like walking away from her, being like, oh, whatever, like nobody cares. She cares. So yeah, best believe they are not sleeping together that night. What a jerk. It was just such a jerk move. And to just be like, I don't care, like I don't really care. And maybe it's the alcohol, but like, I just can't imagine being so callous. And I don't know if he thinks that he can get away with it because she seems so like, I don't know, like Eastern European. She rarely shows emotion, but she's a person that hurts. And you know that this is the button that hurts her most. You know her traumas. So like, how can she not think that you're not doing it on purpose when you know her the best? You know what I mean? But that was that for this episode, you guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.